that was obviously an amazing year because you got to the World Cup, which is super difficult, especially those years. You actually ended up playing your friend Gorilla. It was pretty deep into the tournament. So how was it playing someone who you would like consider a friend? Are there any like funny moments that never made it out that like kind of stayed between you two or in that game?
Like I told you, it goes back to 2 years ago. I told you I'm gonna get him, and I wanted him on that stage. It was perfect. I was so excited for that game. It made it all the better for me. That's the game where I am. That's the game I probably have enjoyed playing the most because at the time, obviously, KURT Gorilla was like, it's the game. A lot of people wanted to watch that. There was so much history, so much story about that. And it's on the biggest of stages. It's in the semi-final of a World Cup. How much bigger can it get than that? And there is funny backstories to that. Of course, there's this video where we have one of the media guys comes and he's like, "Can you guys do a face-off?" I'm like, "Sure." I dropped my backpack. I licked him in his beady eyes. I'm like, "Here we go." I told him, "You haven't got a Hillet this time." Well, I've got Hillet as well. I've got VA as well this time. Let's do this. It was funny. I remember he was there up there and they were press conference or not interview. They were interviewing up there, and I was looking at him right when we both won our games. So I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be so much fun." And obviously, it could go either way. It's FIFA, but I was confident in that one for sure. I was confident.
And then you played Msdossary. Now I've heard you say that you never watched it back. I watched it yesterday.
Yes, I can't watch that back. Yeah, nah.
I watched it yesterday. Like, I don't want to bring back like bad memories, but it was an insane game. You scored first. He kickoffs you. Then you take a 2-1 lead. 2-2 in the 45th minute. Then he makes it 3-2 and 4-2 with back-to-back corners. You make it 4-3 with your super sub Messi comes on. And then, so it's perfect. You've at least brought it back. You've given yourself a lifeline. And then 90th minute kickoff, 5-3.
That's the one that blew me away because mentally it was so tough to take because I got it close again. But I was upset. I don't like watching that back because I did not play as good as I could have. And obviously we only played one game that day, and it was that, so
that's a bit weird.
In a way I wish, but it's part of it. Like if they continued from the day before, I was hot. But again, this is not like excuses. Like he was incredible. Like he had some of the fastest player switching I have ever seen anyone have. And like I said, what people don't know with Msdossary is, I don't know if it's the way, if people don't know, like the way he holds his controller is genuinely like the weirdest grip I've ever seen on it. He has like a finger on every single button. I think it's called like something like I don't even know, like genuinely I can't even explain it. And the way he plays, it's the only problem with that FIFA was if you went behind, and he was very good at that, was that you couldn't press. It was the first FIFA where you couldn't quite close the distance anymore. And I remember the second leg, I couldn't even get near him, because every time I tried to press, like again, the pressing was bad on that game, especially not compared to how it was at the beginning. So it was, and he was a master of that. He was an absolute master of that. That was definitely one of the toughest games I've ever played against, because I was incredible. Like I said, though, I wish, looking back, God damn it, like learning a heel for that FIFA. Like if I look back and I tell to myself, because you go and watch back claw grip, that's the one chat I think. But it's one of those where I look back, heel was the most overpowered skill move. It will help you in certain situations. But I played FIFA from the start until the end in the same way, in the very exact same way. That's my point. I never ever resorted to having to learn any of those because I was comfortable that way. But of course, if you want to compete with the very, very best and even win, I think you do have to, looking back, I wish I went the extra limit and just incorporated a couple of stuff into my game. But make no mistake about it, insane player, like absolutely insane player.
For sure. And I was actually going to ask you about that because now I remember I watched that whole event because I was actually there. And I remember watching Msdossary, and my guy was pressing pause like 5 times a game because he kept going from 4-4-2 to 4-1-2-2 to 4-3-3.
Yeah.
And I remember you saying that you knew that game so well and you knew every counter tactic. Obviously, it's been a while, but did you know at the time that he was doing like all those formation switches, and did you just think, whatever, dude, like I'm gonna keep going?
Well, yeah, the funny thing, like the story behind it is, like I said, again, the difference between online and going to the event. Like I had a plan in my mind to play online, and when we got to the event, the very first game, I couldn't believe my eyes. You know, nothing was working that I practiced at home. It was completely different in the speed. So I had to alter, but I knew the game enough. And this is what I'm saying, when you play FIFA for a whole year, especially at events as well. I played every single event that year. So I went into the World Cup thinking, like, I was dead certain. I was dead certain that I was going to win the whole thing, because I never felt more confident. And yeah, I knew everything about the game. I knew the counter formations. With those series case, like, so we got to that point, and I remember I played the 4-2-2 at that tournament, a formation which I barely played all year, a formation which I've never barely ever played in my whole FIFA time, never mind just that year. So, and he was playing 4-2-2 as well. A lot of us were ended up playing 4-2-2 as our main formation. I don't think we were playing it much throughout the year. He played like a 4-4-2, 4-3-3. The problem with the way the games went against those series, like, I remember he switched, I think, in the second game or something. But obviously, it was like I have to try go for it. So my plan, I'm trying to catch up, you know. So it was always tough for me to try and close the distance just by pressing. So yeah, but it was for sure something that he incorporated well into his game. But I do think people, especially in that, it's not like, oh, he won because he was changing formations constantly. Not at all.